Something big may be happening in North America right now, not on the front pages, not in loud speeches, but quietly, strategically, and with consequences that could reshape everyday life for millions of people. Imagine waking up one morning to find that fuel prices have suddenly changed, jobs are shifting across borders, and businesses are moving faster than ever before. Most people would call it a surprise. But what if it wasn't sudden at all? What if these changes were the result of careful conversations, silent negotiations, and long-term plans already in motion? Welcome to a story that goes deeper than headlines. A story about power, influence, and economic survival in an uncertain world. And before we go further, make sure you like this video and subscribe to the Maple Doctrine, because the insights you'd all hear today could help you understand global changes before they hit your daily routine. Staying informed today could mean staying prepared tomorrow. Right now, governments across North America are facing pressures they haven't seen in decades. Rising global competition, shifting alliances, and unpredictable markets are forcing leaders to think differently. Instead of reacting publicly, they are moving quietly behind the scenes. This is not about dramatic announcements or flashy press conferences. This is about strategy. Slow, deliberate moves designed to strengthen national positions without causing panic or resistance. For everyday citizens, these decisions might seem distant. After all, most people are focused on paying bills, building careers, and planning for their families' futures. But the truth is, economic strategies created in quiet boardrooms can shape the price of groceries, the availability of jobs, and even the stability of communities. A new trade agreement or a subtle policy shift can create opportunities in one region while creating uncertainty in another. Think about how interconnected North America has become. Factories rely on parts that cross borders multiple times before a product is finished. Energy systems depend on cooperation between neighboring countries. Technology companies compete globally but still rely on local regulations and partnerships. This complex web means that even a small change in policy can send ripple effects across industries. When leaders make decisions quietly, the impact is often felt long before the public fully understands what has happened. At the same time, there is growing awareness that the world is entering a new era of economic rivalry. Nations are not only competing for resources and markets, but also for influence and long-term stability. In this environment, alliances matter more than ever. Strategic cooperation can strengthen economies, but it can also create tension when interests do not perfectly align. That's why recent developments in North America are being watched closely by analysts, investors, and policymakers around the world. What makes this moment especially fascinating is the balance between public perception and private action. Publicly, leaders emphasize unity, growth, and shared prosperity. Privately, they must prepare for challenges that could disrupt that vision. It is a delicate dance, projecting confidence while quietly building safeguards against potential crises. For viewers of the Maple Doctrine, understanding this balance is key to seeing the bigger picture behind daily news cycles. Another factor shaping the story is the rapid pace of technological and economic change. Automation, digital trade, and new energy solutions are transforming traditional industries. Governments must decide whether to protect existing sectors or invest in future growth. These choices are rarely simple. Supporting innovation can create new opportunities, but it can also leave some workers feeling uncertain about their place in the economy. This tension adds another layer of complexity to the quiet negotiations taking place today. Meanwhile, global events continue to influence North American strategies. Conflicts abroad, supply chain disruptions, and changing consumer demands all play a role in shaping policy decisions. Leaders must think not just about the next election cycle, but about the next decade. Their success will depend on how well they anticipate risks and seize opportunities before competitors do. This forward-thinking approach often requires patience and secrecy, which is why so much of the real action happens away from public view. For viewers trying to make sense of these developments, the most important thing is to stay curious and engaged. Understanding economic trends is no longer just for experts. In a connected world, informed citizens are better equipped to adapt and thrive. That's why discussions like this matter. They encourage people to look beyond surface-level headlines and ask deeper questions about how decisions are made and who ultimately benefits. As this story continues to unfold, one thing is certain. The choices being made today will shape the opportunities and challenges of tomorrow. Whether it leads to stronger cooperation or increased competition remains to be seen, but by paying attention now, you can gain insights that others might only notice after the effects become unavoidable. And that chooses to those that's exactly why channels like the Maple Doctrine exist, to connect the dots and bring clarity to complex global shifts before they become everyday realities. But here's where the situation becomes even more intense. Quiet strategies and behind-the-scenes planning are not just about improving economic stability. Sometimes they're about preparing for uncertainty before it arrives. Across North America, leaders and policymakers are watching global developments very carefully. They understand that today's calm markets can turn into tomorrow's sudden shocks. And when those shocks happen, the countries that prepared early often come out stronger. Imagine a scenario where supply chains suddenly face disruption. Maybe a conflict overseas slows down shipping routes. Maybe a sudden change in global demand shifts the price of energy or critical materials. In moments like these, the nations that already built strong regional partnerships can move faster and adapt more effectively. This is one reason why quiet cooperation within North America is becoming more important than ever. Governments may not openly talk about contingency plans, but they are certainly thinking about them. For businesses, this creates both opportunity and pressure. Companies that rely on cross-border trade must constantly adjust to policy signals coming from political leaders. A small regulatory shift can determine whether a factory expands or shuts down. Investors also pay close attention to these signals. When they sense that a region is strengthening its economic coordination, they are more likely to commit long-term capital. That investment can lead to job creation, infrastructure development, and technological growth. But if uncertainty rises, money can move just as quickly in the opposite direction. Energy is another critical piece of this puzzle. North America has long benefited from shared energy resources and integrated systems. Cooperation in this sector has helped maintain relatively stable supplies even during global turbulence. Yet the future of energy is changing rapidly. Renewable technologies are expanding, traditional resources are being reevaluated, and environmental priorities are shaping policy decisions. Leaders must balance economic growth with sustainability goals, a task that requires careful planning and sometimes difficult compromises. For ordinary people, these shifts often appear subtle at first. A new factory opening in one city, a change in shipping routes affecting delivery times, or a gradual shift in job opportunities across sectors. Over time, however, these small signals can add up to significant changes in how communities grow and adapt. That's why paying attention to broader trends can be so valuable. By understanding the forces shaping economic decisions, individuals can make more informed choices about careers, investments, and long-term planning. Another dimension of this evolving story is public perception. In democratic societies, leaders must communicate confidence even when facing uncertainty. They emphasize stability and progress while quietly preparing for potential disruptions. This balance between reassurance and realism is not easy to maintain. If citizens feel unprepared for sudden changes, trust can weaken. But if leaders share too much detail too soon, markets can react unpredictably. The art of governance often lies in managing this delicate flow of information. Meanwhile, technological innovation continues to accelerate the pace of change. Automation, artificial intelligence, and advanced manufacturing are transforming traditional economic models. Countries that invest early in these areas may gain a strategic advantage. Quiet policy shifts that encourage research, education, and innovation can have long-lasting effects. These initiatives may not generate immediate headlines, but they lay the foundation for future prosperity. As viewers following this story on the Maple Doctrine, you are witnessing a moment of transition. The economic landscape of North America is not standing still. It is evolving in response to global pressures and internal ambitions. What happens next will depend on how effectively leaders manage cooperation, competition, and the expectations of their citizens. The coming years could bring stronger integration, new trade dynamics, or even unexpected challenges that test the resilience of existing systems. And perhaps the most intriguing question is this: are these quiet strategies a sign of confidence in North America's future, or a sign that leaders are preparing for storms that the public has not yet fully seen? The answer may not be clear today, but the clues are gradually emerging. In the final part of this story, we will explore how these developments could directly affect everyday life, from consumer prices to employment trends, and why the next chapter may arrive sooner than many expect. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into a topic that affects every single one of us: the economy. I know, the word economy can sound a bit intimidating, like something you only hear about on the news, but what does it actually mean for our daily lives, for our grocery bills, our rent, and our plans for the future? Let's break it down together. Have you ever noticed how some months your wallet feels a little lighter, even if you're making the same amount of money? That's inflation at work. It's when the prices of goods and services go up over time. A few years ago, that morning coffee might have cost you $3, but now it's closer to $5. It's not just coffee, it's gas, food, and housing. This steady creep in prices means your money just doesn't stretch as far as it used to. It forces us to make tougher choices. Do you cut back on eating out, or maybe postpone that vacation you were dreaming of? Now, let's talk about jobs. The job market is like a seesaw. When the economy is booming, companies are hiring, and it might be easier to find a job or even get a raise. You feel more secure, more confident about spending. But when the economy slows down, things get tricky. Companies might freeze hiring or, in worse cases, start laying people off. This creates a ripple effect. If you're worried about your job, you're probably not going to buy a new car or renovate your kitchen. And when millions of people pull back on spending, businesses feel the pinch, which can lead to more economic slowdown. It's a cycle that can be tough to break. Another huge piece of this puzzle is interest rates. When you hear the Federal Reserve is raising or lowering rates, it directly impacts you. Think about it. If you want to buy a house or a car, you'll likely need a loan. When interest rates are low, borrowing money is cheaper, which encourages big purchases. But when rates go up, that same loan becomes more expensive. Your monthly mortgage payment could be hundreds of dollars higher, making homeownership feel out of reach for many. It even affects your credit card debt, as the interest you pay on your balance will also increase. So what can we do? It's easy to feel powerless when faced with these huge economic forces, but there are steps we can take to build our own financial resilience. First, creating a budget is non-negotiable. Knowing exactly where your money is going is the first step to controlling it. It helps you identify where you can cut back when prices rise. Second, building an emergency fund is your financial safety net. Having 3 to 6 months of living expenses saved up can be a lifesaver if you suddenly lose your job or face an unexpected bill. It gives you breathing room, so you don't have to make desperate decisions. Finally, let's talk about mindset. It's important to stay informed, but don't let the constant news cycle fill you with anxiety. Focus on what you can control: your spending, your saving, and your skills. Investing in yourself by learning a new skill can make you more valuable in the job market, giving you more security no matter which way the economic winds are blowing. The economy will always have its ups and downs, but by being proactive and prepared, you can navigate the shifts and protect your financial well-being. Thanks for sticking with me through this. I know it's a lot to take in, but understanding these concepts is the first step toward financial empowerment. If you found this helpful, hit that like button and subscribe for more content that makes sense of the world around us. See you in the next video.